greatest. I know it kills you inside. That's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside. That's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside. That's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside. That's why I do this for you.
Oh yeah, yo, I do this for you. What up, Pops? You guys know the deal. I do this for my father. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I know it's Wednesday. I want to remind everybody, it is Big 12 Wednesday. So we'll be answering only questions regarding the Big 12. But before we go there, you guys know the deal. I talk about everything else. I was doing some research here. Let me shut that down. Let me go here. That's fine. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, though, before we get started with all this, is I want to tell you guys, after tonight's show, we're going to cap it at 2 hours. I'm going to take about an hour-long break, and then I'm going to do a show with CF Budge. If you guys don't know CF Budge, College Football Budge, his name is Tyler Budge. He's a young kid, up and coming on TikTok. He, I know he had a press pass. He was at Pac-12 Media Day. He did a preseason college football preview guide that he wrote himself. I've known Budge for a while. We followed one another for maybe 6 months now. I think very highly of the young man. I want to tell you that I find his videos entertaining. He doesn't really inform me of anything because I already know everything. But I feel like he's informed on football. So it'll be nice to have a conversation with that young man tonight. I'm going to be on his show. I think I'm going to live stream it for myself. And you guys will be able to just watch it off my channel if you really want to. Just so you guys are aware. You don't have to flip out. Whoa. I'm sorry about that. Made it just jump and distort. But we'll figure it out as we go. I hope everybody shows up tonight to watch his show and give him some shine. But without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Nick Bosa, highest paid player, 49ers' highest paid player, highest paid defensive player. If you didn't know, he just got signed for $34 million a year. I think that's the biggest ripoff I've ever seen. Let me explain. You can be the defensive player of the year. You can be the franchise player they were all looking for. But if you were making $17 million and the highest paid person at your position is $18 million, are you twice as good as those people? Are you twice as good as anybody else? I don't think so. You don't go and pay $34 million. Maybe 22, 23. Remember, the money isn't coming from the owners. The money's not coming from the organization. The money's coming from your teammates. The money comes from a salary pool, a pool of money, and you just gave this man 3 slices worth of pizza. There's only so many slices to go around to 53 players. You just gave him 3 of those slices. That's an absurd amount of pizza for one person. And what happens is you convert it for, everybody's going to say this. Everybody's going to say, well, Rico, the owners can pay him cash. It's not really a big deal. No, it is a huge deal. Because if you pay him up front, you give him the signing bonus, and you convert his contract into cash because you trust him, what happens next is your pizza shows up 3-4 years later with less slices. You guys got to this is not my first rodeo here. I've been analyzing the salary cap since it was invented in 1994. I can tell you when teams are doing it wrong. And this is where they're doing it. They're doing it incorrectly right now. The 49ers, as a front office, fail epically. They are the worst. Are you kidding me? You got $8.5 million dead cap on a quarterback that's never played for you. You lost 3 draft picks. You could have got Micah Parsons. And instead, you gave him to the Cowboys. Go study that draft pick. But it gets worse, man. $34 million for a defensive end is absurd. Rico, he's not worth it. He's not. You cannot do that. I don't think you guys understand what this means. Who is the highest paid quarterback in the league? What does he make? Imagine you are the best quarterback in the league and you make double the next person. Imagine somebody's making $50 million, but you magically make $100 million because you're the MVP. That is not it. That is not the move. If he's so damn great and he's worth so much, go get your draft capital for him. Go get other players for him. I'll tell you what I do. I go and get Alonzo Highsmith. I go and get the second best player at that position, whoever it is, for half his price. Now, I'm serious. Go get the second best player at that position. They are half his price. It's absurd. $34 million. Everybody goes, Rico. But they're starting Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback. They got a rookie contract on the quarterback. Yeah, so does about 10 other teams. They're not doing this shit. It's absurd, guys. It's absurd. Can't get down with it in the slightest. Don't understand it. $34 million is out of control. And you want to know the worst part? You better hope that man doesn't get injured. You better hope that man doesn't get injured. Everybody getting a big contract gets injured. You better hope he doesn't get injured. I'm telling you right now. Hey, in an innovative idea that I wish I came up with, the ACC is considering making Dallas the neutral site for Stanford sports. Stanford and Cal. Let's go meet in Dallas. Instead of coming all the way to the West Coast, the teams will meet in Dallas in a neutral site. Kind of cool, I guess. Solves the traveling issue, but are you kidding me, bro? Now you don't have any home field advantage of any sort? Now you're going to play in Cowboy Stadium? In Jerry's World? I think it's fine, but give me a break. Give me my home field advantage. Give me my student section. Dallas. It's a little wild. Sounds like the XFL all practicing in Arlington. But oh well. Shout out to Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams' father says his son, Caleb Williams, ain't a lock for the NFL draft. And you know why this is happening? I want to tell you guys why this is happening. This is happening because the NFL doesn't pay their rookie quarterbacks nearly as much as you think they do. If you're a draft pick, you have a graduated scale for your income, right? Your contract's already predetermined by the CBA. So you can only make a limited amount of money. It's crazy. You can only do it. So here we go. He's going to stay in college, supposedly. He's going to avoid some terrible franchises. And they go and name them specifically. The Cardinals, the Raiders, the Saints. And we're looking at, they really want to play for the Cowboys. This is incredible. Because what if quarterbacks start staying in college for their income? What if NIL pays them so much that they don't go pro? Shout out to Austin Reed. Austin Reed, right now, the starting quarterback for Western Kentucky, said, yo, I could have came out and been a 5th, 6th rounder. Or I can collect my NIL, play another good season, and maybe move up to the 3rd or 4th round. Isn't that pretty awesome? I really believe in this. I think quarterbacks are going to start serving 3-4 years in college because of the amount of pay they're going to get. It's got to be incredible. Shout out to them. Let's do this. Excuse me for a second. Now it's Big 12 today, so let's talk about the Big 12. Let's go back to last week. Before I get to all your questions and answers, obviously I told you UCF was going to blow out Kent State. They were hapless. Vegas didn't know that. I did. So the spread was huge, and I said they would cover it. They did. Kansas obviously blows out Missouri State. Good for them. Kansas looks good. Penn State beating West Virginia. Not surprised at all. West Virginia did not look terrible, though. So shout out to Coach Neil Brown for having his team show up to play. They're just outgunned and outmatched. Texas actually did not look good. They beat Rice 37-10. Rice did not look improved. The only person worse than Quinn Ewers was JT Daniels on the other side. That's real. Okay, JT Daniels looked terrible. Kansas State, shout out to them. DJ Giddens, the running back, great player, looked good. K-State just looks mean. 45-0, still ain't been scored on. Good for them. TCU, blown out by Colorado. And I say blown out because you gave up 500 yards passing. 45-42. I told you guys there's no way TCU wins this game. They are not the same team they were last year. Before the season started, I had a preseason top 25 poll. I didn't put TCU in it. Everybody freaked out on me, told me I'm ridiculous. I said, no, guys, I see them losing 7 games this year. And one of those 7 losses was Colorado. Okay? One of those 7 losses was Colorado. I was right. The rest of you guys can deal with it. Next, we got Oklahoma. They showed up on all cylinders. Oklahoma firing on all cylinders. I apologize. 73-0. Arkansas State is the worst team in America. Don't get excited about this score, but be excited that the team is really pulling together. We'll see what they can do this week against SMU. Iowa State, right? Northern Iowa at Iowa State. Good job for Iowa State. Circling the wagons. Their program's in shambles. Everybody's mad at them and hates them for gambling right now, but they still got it done within state. You know, it's an FCS opponent. Same thing with Cincinnati. Rico, they looked amazing. Yeah, they did, but it's Eastern Kentucky. It's Eastern Kentucky. Calm down. Texas State, shocking the world, but not shocking me. Beating Baylor just like I wanted them to, just like I needed them to. They took care of business. Good for them. Shout out to Finley. And shout out to Shapen for getting injured. UTSA, what an egg they laid. Houston's defense very improved on the secondary. I told you guys Halsey, the transfer from New Mexico, he's actually a Houston kid coming out of high school. But I told you, when he transfers to Houston, I'm like, whoa, they got players. Go back and look at my transfer portal videos from last year. All I ever talked about was every transfer going to Houston. I'm like, man, they're knocking it out the park. Do a search on TikTok for hashtag Houston space hashtag transfer portal, and then find all of my videos. And you'll see everything I ever said about Houston. I really believe in them. I'm proud of them for beating Frank, but beating Frank Harris just hurts because I love Frank Harris as a quarterback. Three 3 interceptions to open the season. He can't stay like that. He's been great forever. You're telling me that's the way he's going to be because he lost Franklin? Like, come on, man. I can't have it. Central Arkansas and Oklahoma State. A couple things bug me about this. Firstly, obviously, Central Arkansas scoring 13 points. Oklahoma State played 4 different quarterbacks. I think it was 3 the first game. There's no clear way winner there. That drives me insane. I don't know how I feel about Oklahoma State. They do have a very favorable schedule this year. They play all the new teams. They end the season well. It just looks like they're poised to win at least 7 games no matter how bad they are, which is nuts. Texas Tech losing in overtime to Wyoming. Don't get it. They had 17 points in the first quarter, and then they stopped scoring. They still put up an insane amount of yards, but they got hit in the mouth. Going on the road to Wyoming and losing is absurd. For a team that was supposed to be top 25, be a dark horse to win the conference, it's embarrassing. I don't understand it, but what do? You put up 33 points, you should win a game, especially against the Mountain West. It's embarrassing. And Sam Houston, I'm very proud of them. Staying within 14, 19 points, they covered the spread. Sam Houston was much better than anybody thought against BYU. I knew this. They didn't score, but very respectable game for Sam Houston, losing 14-0 to a Power 5 school in their first game at the FBS level. Let's go to week 2. Week 2, Illinois at Kansas. I really don't like Illinois this year. I know they won the game. Shout out to Luke Altmaier. They won their game 30-28 over Toledo. They didn't cover the spread. I feel like Kansas is good, guys. I want to say Kansas is winning this game, especially at home. I would really lean towards Kansas. I don't know the spread, but I like Kansas on the money line for sure. Baylor and Utah, I know this spread is moving because I announced it. Now everybody's betting on it. We're moving the line. If my channel can impact the line in America, that's insane, guys. I know we have 100,000 people wanting to bet, but if we can impact the line, that'd be incredible. Do you know what kind of leverage we have? Vegas better recognize me. People better start paying attention. But this line was at 7.5 when I announced it, and I swear it's like 10 now. Okay? So we're looking at Utah at Baylor, and I feel like Utah's going to win this game. I also feel like Baylor's going to be terrible, guys. Their backup quarterback's going to be starting this game. Sawyer Robertson, the transfer from Mississippi State, he's never played a game where he didn't throw an interception. So I feel like it's going to be a problem for Baylor to try to score. Baylor does have a good rushing attack, 2 good running backs. They can rotate it around, keep the ball on their side of the field for a while. But, man, if I saw Baylor lose to Texas State, they're losing to Utah. I'm letting you know now. Okay? I don't know. It's a wake-up call, Rico. I don't know. This game right here, I would stay away from altogether. Troy is very good. Troy is a great running back leading the country in rushing. By the way, Kermani James, I made a video about him. He follows the channel. I know him and his father. And I'm proud of both of them. But he's leading the country in rushing right now. Shout out to Troy. They're going to go to K-State. K-State has yet to be scored on. I feel like K-State matches up well. I would stay away from the game entirely, though. That is the best team in the Sun Belt versus K-State. I would leave it alone. Southern Utah at BYU. Another cakewalk for BYU. They're going to win this game. It won't be impressive, but they'll win the game. Iowa at Iowa State. Iowa doesn't score very much. Iowa State put up 30, but come on, man. It was an FCS opponent. This game bothers me. I like Iowa to win this game, though, money line. SMU at Oklahoma, we don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know what's going to happen. The over-under is somewhere in the high 60s, I think. It's because they know SMU can score points. They had 31 points at the half. Oklahoma obviously can score. They're hitting on all cylinders. Oklahoma scores a lot of points, guys, like over 30 every game. So it's going to be on SMU to try to make this a game. Being at Oklahoma, I don't know if SMU's there yet. I think they're going to be there next year. Preston Stone's a hell of a quarterback, good high school quarterback, but it's going to take him 2 years. So I don't know. I stay away from all these games. Guys, I'm not the type of person that needs to bet on every game. I don't. I won't bet on every game. I won't guess at every game. I just won't. It's dangerous to do that. Duquesne at West Virginia. Put $40,000 if you have it on West Virginia. You'll make $500. Go put $40,000 on them. I don't know what the money line is, but West Virginia is winning that game. Texas at Alabama. Now, before the season, I had Texas winning this game. Now, it was a joke. I made a video where I said Alabama's going to lose every home game, and I said it with a straight face, and everybody flipped out on me. It was just to get a rise out of these guys. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is Texas did not look good opening weekend, and Alabama did. Okay, Alabama looked great. And I feel like at home, Alabama's going to hit these dudes in the mouth. I really do. And that's frightening to me because I wanted Texas to be competitive this year. I don't think they line up well. I don't think they match up well at this moment in time. Not at this time. Texas just looks out of sorts, and I'm going to leave it alone at that. I personally wouldn't even touch this game either. I wouldn't bet on this game to save my life. Like, not at all. Oregon at Texas Tech. If Oregon wants to be taken seriously, they need to blow this game. They need to win this game. They need to blow out Texas Tech. I think it can happen. I think Oregon's defense is the difference here. Texas Tech does not have defense. Oregon does. So I think Oregon wins this game, and people need to start looking at Oregon as being very dominant. I don't know what the spread is, but give me Oregon money line all day. I don't know what it is. UCF at Boise State. UCF's going up to Boise. Boise just lost and got blown out by Washington. It's going to be a similar circumstance here where I think UCF is good. I really do. I think UCF has better players. I think UCF's going to beat Boise. It's going to happen. Get used to it. Houston at Rice. Houston will win big. TCU will beat Nichols. And then Oklahoma State at Arizona State. I think Kenny Dillingham has more upside here than Oklahoma State. But it's a coin toss all the way. I don't know what the over-under is. I don't know the spread or none of that stuff. But if there was a I'm staying away from it. It's too inconsistent for me. Staying away from it. So that's the Big 12 in a nutshell. Apologize if it was so brief. We're going to go to your questions now. See what you guys have to say, the Q&A. If you're on TikTok and you're talking to me, there's no point. You got to go to YouTube and put it in the chat. I can't acknowledge you. All right, let's go to the chat. It says, if you can't handle the truth, you came to the wrong place. Thank you very much. You can't handle the truth. Yep. I eat breakfast 300 yards away from 25 people trying to kill me. Okay, good day, sir. What up, Boss Omar? Evan Kramer says, do you think Texas Tech bounces back and gives Oregon a good game? Not necessarily. I think Texas Tech struggles. If you allow 35 points to Wyoming, Oregon's going to run you. Oregon's going to run you up something fierce. I think Oregon's going to put up 50. I'm not kidding. I think Oregon's putting up 50. Andreas says, so what do you think Texas Tech's going to put up is my question. Especially, you got Tyler Shuck playing against his old team. Maybe he wants to get him back. I don't know. What up, Rico? Excited to talk some Big 12 today. You're going to see me in these charts every day this season. What do you think of Oregon -7 at Texas Tech? I like Oregon at -7 against Texas Tech. Also, do you think that Bama beats the brakes off of Texas? I thought Texas was all gas, no brakes. Texas has no brakes. They're all gas, no brakes. That's what their slogan is, right? Am I making this up? Seth said, and they said Texas Tech was a dark horse. Yeah, even I said it, though. I'm going to own that one. I said they're a dark horse. It's a dead horse. D-Dub says, yo, Rico, do you think Baylor is going to be worse on defense this year with Ron Roberts heading over to Auburn? I think what's going to hurt Baylor on defense is the fact that their offense isn't efficient, right? I don't understand why R.J. Martinez is not the starting quarterback. That kid just leaving Northern Arizona threw for 4,500 yards last year, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I know he can play football at the FCS level. Well, it translates. Shout out to Shedeur Sanders. Shout out to Cam, right? There's so many guys out there who know how to do this, and they're not letting him. So their third-string quarterback at Baylor, I think, is the best quarterback at Baylor if they'd ever let him play. After week 1, is the seat hot or colder for Neil Brown? I think it's the same, Seth. He played well against Penn State. Nobody expected his team to beat Penn State. That's not real. Leave him alone. The seat's not hot or colder. It's the same. It's warm as hell, though. It's warm as hell. Steve says, welcome to the Big 12 Hump Day. Hammer that like button if you can. Please hammer the like button, guys. We need that. We got 41 likes, 147 people in here, 255 from TikTok watching. TikTok, if you want to move over, throw us a like and watch the show. We'd appreciate it. It's too bad if you don't. It is what it is. Where am I at on chat? Want to hear your thoughts on K-State this week. Like them last week. It was a backup doing it. Yeah, so Wilder Hume, K-State's good every week, man. I love everything about them. Chris Kleiman, their head coach, great coach. Quarterback plays on point. Running backs on point. Defense looks great. They get the most out of their players. I love K-State as a team. Love them. Wouldn't bet on them every week. You guys got to get away from that mindset of gambling every single game Don't do that. Just recognize what games aren't good for you and which ones are. Any inside skinny on Jalen Daniels' back issues? Heard he hurt in the weight room this summer. Yeah, no inside. I have nothing, Steve. I haven't even dug into it. I could have reached out to some people, but I kind of left it alone, and that's on me. I've been too busy on other things. I got a lot of moving parts right now, but I hear you. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. Cade Bearden says, do you think Texas Tech should targeting a quarterback in the transfer portal in the offseason for next year? I don't have faith in the backup. Cade, they have freshmen coming in, but everybody's going to see what happens. They have freshmen coming in. Their backup is actually really, really accomplished. What's his name? It starts with an M. Is it Morton? He's a 4-star. He's a kid. He's got a lot of talent. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can't not have faith in him. You haven't seen him play yet. Come on now. Good afternoon, Rico. Good afternoon, Big 12 fans. Good afternoon, David. What up, Lewis Henton? Roll Tide Roll. Who you think is going to win, Kansas or Illinois? I think Kansas wins that game as long as Jalen Daniels is healthy. Got my student ticket for Texas-Bama today. Pat McAfee show on Friday. Game day Saturday morning. Barstool show Saturday morning. Bama, Texas, 6 p.m. It's going to be a crazy weekend. Yeah, Skyler, I mean, if you're a fan of all those things, half that shit sounded terrible to me. I wouldn't want to go to any of those shows unless I was going there to represent and say Rico knows. Outside of that, I can't help you. What does Baylor need to do to win, and what are our odds to beat Utah? So what Baylor needs to do to win the game is probably take a bat to half of Utah's starters and make sure they don't show up for the game, because Baylor's got no chance of winning this game outside of running the ball like crazy, time possession, and hoping there's some turnovers for Utah. There's no other way around it. Baylor's not better than Florida. Baylor's not better than anybody. Like, Baylor's in trouble. Doesn't look good for the home team. Yo, what's good, Rico? What's good? Who do you think's going to win? Kansas, Illinois. I already answered that. Rewind the show. Is this Morant's Rants? No, that is not. What? Why are you saying can't hear you, Dylan Turner? Is this before the show you wrote this? Bro, the mic is off before the show. If you're waiting while the music's playing, of course you can't hear me. Welcome to the show. What's good, Rico? I'm back in here. My bad. I missed part 2 streams. Hope you had an amazing day. Thank you, Corey Flores. I appreciate you. A. Jr. says, this is Morant's Rants, LMFAO. Oh, my. Okay, at least you good for something instead of talking about AMC all day. A. Jr., I don't know. I'm not Morant's Rants. You're absolutely ridiculous. Please go away. No one wants to talk about any of your shit. TC Trap Talk says, Rico Knows, salute you, bro. Thank you very much. Bosa's contract is so bad for him. The pass rusher's contract's coming up. Hint, hint, Dallas. Well, yeah, it ruins the average for the franchise tag, and it ruins the market moving forward for sure. Kansas. Whoops, I'm sorry, chat just jumped on me. I'll go back up. If you guys repeat the same questions over and over, I can't stand it. Who are these people just spamming me? That's not what I'm talking about. It's not the spam I'm getting. My whole chat just went away. It just keeps spamming me. UFC, UCF 12, Joe Mama. Just ban Joe Mama, please. I got it. If you come in here spamming, you're just gone, guys. We don't have time for that shit. Would you take Colorado money line versus Nebraska? I want to pair it with Utah. Logan Dickerson, that is not a Big 12 question. Texas State or UTSA, not a Big 12 question. What up, brother? Do you think Appalachian State is going to win Saturday versus North Carolina? Not a Big 12 question. Should have been here Monday when I talk ACC. Thoughts on Jackson Arnold? I've talked about him all offseason. I think he is him. He's a great player. What do you think about your man's getting suspended? Players make decisions, man. I have no idea why players do what they do. Thoughts on Miami versus Texas A&M? That is not a Big 12 question. Jake Haener gone. No thoughts on it. I'm talking Big 12 football, guys. If you have a Big 12 question, let me know. Do you think Oklahoma is back? I do. I thought they were back last year at the end of the year. I loved what they did in their bowl game. Yeah, I think Oklahoma is back. As back as they're going to be. Did you know Haener was juicing? No, I didn't know Haener was juicing. Tulane versus Ole Miss, not a Big 12 question. Already answered. Rewind the show. Not a Big 12 question. Rico, I think Michigan should be a little higher in your rankings. Not a Big 12 question. What's wrong with you guys, man? The theme of the show is the Big 12. Come in here and let's talk about the Big 12. It's not hard. We talk about a different conference every day. Today is the Big 12. Stop asking me about your damn gambling advice. Stop asking about your bets. You guys are just hard-headed and don't fucking get it. If we don't have structure, we can't have a show. Goodness. Rico, I think, okay. Auburn and Cal, not the Big 12. Jake Hayner suspended. Okay, got it. Tulane, Ole Miss, not the Big 12. Not the Big 12. I don't understand you guys. We're just going to sit here in silence while I read through these until somebody asks a Big 12 question. Do you think Iowa State can cover the 4.5? Not necessarily. I don't, Troy Stewart. I don't think they can cover the 4.5 against Iowa. I don't see how they score. It'll be a low-scoring game. I don't know what the under is, but I'd lean towards the under on that shit. Or maybe you can go the over because this year it'll be higher. But I wouldn't bet on that game to begin with. Like I already told you guys, there are games I would stay away from completely. You cannot try to bet on every single game. I would stay away from these games. Penn State has nothing to do with the Big 12. Washington State, Wisconsin. I talked Wisconsin on Tuesday, yesterday. Where were you? Go watch yesterday's show. 2 touchdown in overtime versus Wyoming. I'm aware. What do you think of OK State's offensive scheme? Seems like we have zero ability to attack downfield. Yeah, Corey Free, it's very true. I think that Oklahoma State actually has no receivers. Not that you have zero ability to go downfield. You have no receivers. And your running backs leave a lot to be desired in their utilization because they're actually really good players, and they're not utilizing them. Your downfield threat is Brennan Presley, the older brother, and not utilize him. I don't think you have the quarterbacks to get it to him. It's going to be a long season. It is. Inefficiency is real. Would you take Colorado money line versus Nebraska? Not the Big 12. Not the Big 12. Thoughts on the Kansas game? I like Kansas. I just think Illinois is not as good as people think they are. If Illinois beats Kansas, let me tell you something. Then we have to start respecting what Illinois is doing. But I watched them all offseason, and nothing Illinois did in the offseason makes me move. Like, it doesn't move me. I wasn't impressed. I saw Kansas upgrade their roster this offseason. I saw them increase their stuff. I'll get to the tip here. Love the show, Rico. Sending love and support from JW Appraisals. Thank you so much, Pernell Watson. You make my life possible, brother. Thank you for the tip, and thank you for the super chat. You're on point, brother. Thank you. Bama not covering the spread. Shout out to you. Riding Texas State the whole year. Got it. Texas State versus UTSA. Not a Big 12 question. TJ Watt got paid $112 million for 4 years. I know Watt is an old DB, an outside linebacker. But as they go both edge rushers, do you think that was a factor in the new contract? No. When you do your contracts, everything has to deal with your position. Your position group, because your franchise tag is based upon your position group. Period. This all has to do with comps. All the comps of your position group. Now you know why linebackers want to be considered defensive ends. It's all about that right there. Fullbacks want to be considered tight ends. Shit like that. Not running backs. Is Miami for real or they get exposed by A&M? You probably should have asked me Monday. Are your shows recorded? Always. You can rewind it, go back. Kenneth, every show is recorded, posted forever. If you guys got a question about the ACC, it was on Monday. Question of the Big 12, it was on Tuesday. They're all posted on the live stream. They're there. Hit the live tab. Everybody's there. Does Notre Dame cover the spread? Not a Big 12 question. No one gives AF about Jackson Arnold. Chill. No, Jackson Arnold's fine. You just don't need to spam it. Thoughts on Oklahoma? I think they're great. Would you take Colorado money line versus Nebraska? I want to stop repeating yourself. Not answering these questions. None of these are anything worth talking about, guys. Can't care about any of this stuff. Literally, the chat is filled with nothing worth talking about. Is the Aranda on the hot seat rumors just a knee-jerk reaction to a loss? That will be definitely later this year. Yeah, Robert Lopez, that's bullshit. Like, I think he's a good coach. He's doing everything he can. You can't be consistent and persistent without your 5-star quarterback or without your good quarterback. It's not his fault. His quarterbacks are injured. He couldn't develop any or find any in the offseason. Like, I don't want to do that. Aranda's a good coach. A lot of what Baylor was doing to succeed after Matt Rule left was because of Aranda. And now we can't ignore that moving forward. Thank you for the super chat. Shout out to Nate Barrett. Nonstop knowledge. No one needs to ask betting questions. Just sit and listen and apply what he gives you. Thank you very much, Nate. I appreciate it. These kids are greedy. These are young kids who don't want to work for a living. They don't want any knowledge. Let me tell you something. Everybody spamming the chat right now, begging for hot takes and tips. There are only 103 people watching right now. We've been up to 200. They just left because they are Google kids. This is the Google generation. They don't have a fucking clue what an almanac is or an encyclopedia. They never did a book report. They Googled their ass off and clicked on the first 3 results of their life. They are standardized test takers. This is the product of No Child Left Behind Act. That's what this is. They don't know how to do research. They don't know the Dewey Decimal System. So when they get in here and spam like damn kids, they're going to wonder why I made the chat subscriber only. Or why I make the chat that you got to pay $20 to even talk to me. Because they are children. They're not what they're doing is ruining their opportunity to learn. And if I see the name more than once, and I don't forget shit, buddy. If I see the name more than once, you'll be blocked forever. I don't care. I don't need you. Thank you very much, Nate. Sil S, thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate the tips. It makes my life possible. This is how I'm able to do this every day, and I can put in the research. What I can't do is put up with bullshit. You trolls think it's funny. You're ruining your own experience, and you're going to sit in the dark real soon. Any picks for this weekend? I've put out 2 on TikTok. I don't necessarily sit here and put out the picks until right up before the games. It's really important. I don't try to project too far forward. Would you take Colorado versus Nebraska? Stop asking. Miami A&M. These are not Big 12 questions. Is Matt Campbell on the hot seat with the gambling issues? I think Troy Stewart, great question. I think Matt Campbell's on the hot seat before the gambling questions. When you go 4-12 and you lose 6 of those games, not 4-12, 4-8, you lose 6 of those games by 1 possession or less, you're either going to be the next TCU or you're the next Nebraska. And I'm telling you right now where Matt Campbell is. He doesn't look like the next TCU. Not to me. Not to me. Go over some prize picks lines. Tagging, I don't give a shit about gambling, guys. My page is not for gamblers. That's not what my page is about. You showed up for the gambling. I've been here the whole time. I talk sports, like real shit. Huge fan. Love your takes, even if you think Baylor is trash. Thank you so much, Ethan. I appreciate the $10. I appreciate the tip. I don't think Baylor's trash. I think they're just in a world of hurt right now. I was very high on Baylor, but they didn't find their quarterback. They didn't find their solution. They got 2 great running backs. They really do. Thank you for the tip, Nathan Neighbor. I appreciate you. Emory Jones, thoughts. Cincy as a whole, Satterfield. So, Cincy, Big 12, newest member. Satterfield is a love-or-hate kind of coach. Remember, his first year at Louisville, he was the coach of the year for the ACC. But then from then on, he just got worse and worse and worse every single year. And they were pleased to get rid of him. He was rubbing people the wrong way. Remember, Satterfield left the team via FaceTime. He didn't even sit down and talk to all the players. Remember how Coach Prime told his team, hey, I got to leave. He was sitting in that big-ass king chair and sitting back going, yo, man, I got to go take this opportunity. I'm out of here. At least he did it face-to-face. Satterfield did that shit FaceTime and was like, yo, I'm in the airport. Peace. Good luck. And Satterfield only took about 3 guys with him from Louisville to Cincy. Now, Emory Jones, I've always liked him. I've always liked Emory Jones. Far better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. Far better quarterback. Anthony Richardson can't possibly do what Emory Jones does. Emory Jones completes passes. At Florida, Emory Jones threw for 65% completion percentage. Rushed for 100 more yards than Anthony Richardson. With the same receiver core. His receiver core was actually worse. Henderson and Shorter were a year younger. He had Copeland, who transferred to Maryland, and then they swapped out Copeland for Pearsall. But it was the same receiver core, and all of a sudden, magically, Anthony Richardson could only complete 53% of his passes, only rushed for 700 yards on the season. Somebody Google this shit. I got it all memorized, but you can fact check me. Emory Jones is him. He's really good. I like the kid. They got their work cut out. Now, shout out to Cincy. Cincy has an amazing schedule, an amazingly easy schedule. They don't play 3 of the perennial powers. So they got to keep it together. They got to put it together. We'll see what happens this week, but that's how I feel about it. Thanks for the tip. Thanks for the question. Appreciate you guys so much. You guys make my life possible. All the tippers, thank you. Everybody else, disgust me. How do you feel Missouri looks this year? They look like they're in the SEC, which is a question for tomorrow. Tulane, Ole Miss, question for tomorrow. Texas State, UTSA, talked about it on Sunday. We ride in Biff Poggi this weekend. Hey, shout out to you, James Law. It's not a Big 12 question or comment, but I appreciate you. Shout out to Biff Poggi in Charlotte. What did you think about Penn State's performance? Talked about it on Monday or Tuesday, yesterday. Talked about it on yesterday. UCF not winning anything. Okay, shout out to you, Taggin. Would you take some time not to repeat yourself? If Oklahoma beats Texas and goes 11-1, would they make the playoff? Jesse Corker, everybody asking me to make playoff predictions, I want you guys to remember this. I have no earthly idea about the other conferences. They can go 11-1 and beat Texas. What if there are 3-4 other undefeated teams? What if Florida State's undefeated? USC's undefeated? Bama? Georgia? Like, what are we doing? You got 4 undefeated teams. Oklahoma doesn't make the playoffs. So the fact that they go 11-1 has no bearing on whether or not they make the playoffs. Win your conference first, and we can talk about the rest. That's how that works. Texas State versus UTSA, don't care. Iowa State is winning Saturday. There you go, Laramie. That's pretty deep. Another Missouri question. That's for Thursday. Ole Miss Thursday. Told you UNC was going to dub the Gamecocks. Drake May is the truth. That's a Monday comment, but I appreciate you. Iowa State's winning Saturday. Please don't repeat yourself, Laramie. You will be muted for the whole show. Jake Hainer just got suspended for PED usage. Okay, what do you want me to do? I can make a video about it when I'm done with my show. Thoughts on TCU for the rest of the season after the loss versus Colorado. So, yeah, Austin, Navarrete, I said this before the season. TCU is going to lose 7 games. I think they struggle. They did not rebuild. They're not a winning program. They had a losing program before their miracle season last year. A lot of second-half comebacks. They lost 8 draft picks. I just don't think TCU's that great. Now, they put up a lot of points, but I don't think they're that good. Their defense is Swiss cheese, bro. And their skill position players leave a lot to be desired. I'm not good. I'm not big on TCU. Haven't looked at their whole schedule. I could pull it up and break it down, but I did before. That's why I said they're 5-7. Pitt and Cincy. Does Cincy prove they are for real? We're going to find out. I wouldn't bet on that game at all, but we're going to find out. A lot of these games give us data points and information moving forward. Some of these games, you guys got to understand, you're sitting here, watch the games and grasp and obtain data. Don't you ever bet on a game you're guessing. That's why I never understood baseball. You're just guessing whether or not a guy's going to be good that day, whether or not he's going to finally get his hit. He only gets one every fucking 10 at-bats, but I hope it's today. You just don't know. Like, I hate unknowns. I'll let you know when I see something that looks enticing, and it's very few and far between in week 2. I would stay away from all of it. Make your money. You know what I do? I study all off season, and that week 1, I just bet that I'm smarter than Vegas. That's what I do. But after that point, you better slow the hell down. So put in a solid, however many stacks you want that first week, and then slow down. That's what I would recommend to everybody. Get your ass back to work. Do not win big on week 1 and go, oh my God, I'm going to win every week. I'm going to go win. I'm going to go clean house every single pick. It doesn't work that way. Upsets happen the first week because the underdogs were totally undervalued, were disrespected, were misevaluated. But after week 1, everybody adjusts. After week 1, they start evaluating properly. And you got to be careful. What are the chances that K-State wins the Big 12, Rico? They're in it. They're undefeated, and they're in the Big 12. So they got good chances. They're playing. That's all there is to it. Is Rico ignoring the Hainer news or not seeing it? Adam Silva, no one's ignoring a damn thing. That's not the theme of the show, bro. That's not the theme of the show. The show is for the Big 12. You know, I'm going to turn this show off, post it on YouTube, and then the 2,000 people that come to watch the show after I post it are going to click on it hoping to hear news about the Big 12, and all they're going to see is a bunch of bullshit comments about Jake Haener and about Texas State and UTSA or about Colorado and Nebraska. They're going to say, where do I get my Big 12 news? And it's all you damn trolls not understanding that we talk about a different conference every single day in here. Miami versus Texas A&M. Not the Big 12. What are the strengths of the Nebraska team? Not the Big 12. Charlotte plus 24.5 versus Maryland. Maryland is that good. Not the Big 12. Why is Oklahoma not allowed to play Georgia this year, but Texas is allowed to play Bama? I actually don't know. I know that I would imagine some of this has to do with revenue sharing, predetermined revenue sharing, the fact that you don't want Georgia losing any games. So you say, hey, you don't get to play a tough team from out of conference because technically Oklahoma's out of conference. It's kind of like beating yourself, right? Self-sabotage. We don't do that around here. So you don't get to beat one of our teams. Remember, they don't like to play 9 conference games anyways. That would be considered a conference game. Stay away from it. Now, you really ducking because your man's got caught. Heartless, you're in here getting me paid, bro. Ain't nobody ducking a damn thing. Would you take Colorado money line versus Nebraska? Not a Big 12 question. Texas State covers plus 14. Not a Big 12 question. What do you think about the Washington State-Wisconsin game? Not a Big 12 question. We could do this all night. Shout out to Wealth here, Farm Wealth. Thank you so much for the tip, brother. I appreciate you. Celebrate the first Super Chat. Thank you, Super Chat, Farm Wealth. Hey, first Super Chat ever. That's awesome. I like Troy over K-State. There you go. If you're aiming for underdogs, good luck. I wouldn't do it, but good luck. What do you think about Jackson Arnold? He's the truth. I already talked about it. Rewind the show. Does JMU beat Virginia? I posted a video about this. It's not a Big 12 question, but there's a video up about it. What did you think of Avery Johnson in the K-State game last Saturday? Preston Jones. I think Avery Johnson looked like Avery Johnson. I wasn't super impressed. Everybody freaking out. Oh, my God. He should not be playing. Like, just leave him alone. Let him keep working at practice. I don't need to see him to get the fan base amped up. Last thing we need is a split locker room or quarterback controversy or the first time Will Howard, like the first time something goes wrong, people start chanting, Avery, Avery. Get that out of here, bro. We can't have none of that shit. Yeah, I would have just left the kid somewhere else. I thought, he's good. He's good. Not Big 12, not Big 12. Free Haener, not Big 12. I'm not worried about it. Much respect. Thank you so much, Kev Rogue. I appreciate the tip, brother. Thank you. Thoughts on South Alabama? Not Big 12. Talk about it on Sunday. Go watch Sunday's show. Rico Duck and Haener comments. They're right in my face, bro. I read one at a time. You guys think I'm up to date on the chat? I go slow on purpose. What's wrong with you guys? Baylor needs to pray Cam Rising ain't back. It doesn't matter if he's back or not. They're much better than Baylor. You clearly didn't watch Iowa State last week. Boysen. I watched Iowa, and I watched Iowa State. I don't understand what your point is, what your comment is. You appear to be a homer. If you're a homer, let me explain something to you guys. If you're a homer, you're going to lose every time. I talked about the show tonight. I'm going to be on CF Budge's show after this one, right? I'm going to be on CF Budge's show after I have my show tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And when I'm on his show, the reason I get to rip him apart is because he missed on his national championship pick. It's because he's a fan. It's because I'm going to say, dare I say, he's a casual. He picked a team. He thought had this. He thought had that. He liked it. It was out-the-box idea, all this stuff. No, you're just a fan of a team, bro. You picked the wrong team because you're a fan. I pride myself on being an expert. I'm not in the wrong. I have no control over how things go, but I know that I have control over what I say. Not picking these teams recklessly. I watch them play. I watch every conference. Let me explain this. The games happen on Saturday. You can ask Kim. She's sitting right here. This is how I live my life. I watch as many games as possible on Saturday. And after Saturday, I wake up and I watch as many games as possible of the group of 5. I have them recorded on YouTube TV. I have them on ESPN+. I watch all of them. As many as possible. You can record up to 6 games at a time. I record them all. Go back and play them again. And I watch every game. And then I talk about the group of 5 conferences. And then I go, and on Monday, I wake up in the morning. It's ACC. I wake up in the morning, and I start watching all the ACC games again. When I'm done with them, I do my show on the ACC. Then Tuesday, I wake up, I watch all the Big 10 games. So today, I sit down, I wake up, and I watch all the Big 12 games before the show. So if you're in my chat, like Laramie Boyson, saying you clearly didn't watch Iowa or Iowa State, you're severely mistaken. I watched the Iowa game yesterday because I covered the Big 10 yesterday. And I watched Iowa State this morning because I covered the Big 12 today. It's a fail-proof plan. I'm organized. I really do this. I really do this. You guys are gross. And if you're not on it and you don't believe what I'm saying, leave. I don't want doubters. I don't need clout. I don't need haters. I don't say shit for clicks. I want believers. I want an army of believers. I'm on a whole nother level. Taylor Swift's got her Swifties. Bieber's got his Beliebers. Rico's got his Roughnecks, bruh. Figure it out. Is he easy dub or does Strickland give him problems? Got a UFC question up in here. I believe Izzy's a class above Strickland. I don't think Strickland deserved this title shot at all. I will not even purchase the card. I think it's a bullshit card. Not happening. Let me know how the fight goes. I won't watch it. Typically skip a lot of cards during the football season because I'm busy watching football games. Does JMU beat Virginia? Go watch the video posted on TikTok and YouTube. Thoughts on Texas State? They are not Big 12. Big 12 today. Bro, get these trolls out of here. Please do. Can you take Colorado money line? Stop repeating. You know what? I'm tired of seeing Logan Dixon. He's done. No more Logan Dixon. Can K-State win the Big 12? Don't repeat yourself, please. Just built the same 2-leg. Mr. Logan Dixon is a lock. My boy Rico taking us to the promised land. I'm trying. You clearly, there we go. He repeated himself. He's out of here. You guys are going to learn. We don't get down like that. Oregon is favored 6.5, Rico. Line is almost too good, man. Yeah, it sounds like A&M's going to score a ton. It sounds like a shootout. What's the over? Lean towards the over. If they have a line like that, that means they think it's going to be a shootout. Lean towards the over. We know Oregon's scoring. Wyoming put up 35. We know Oregon's scoring. Texas State, UTSA, you guys, stop repeating yourself. No one's going to be doing that shit. No one cares if you repeat yourself all day. Chat just jumped on me, so you guys are done. I have to go to the top, and it's not all there. Apologize if I missed your comment. Chat jumped. Do you like the direction of the Big 12? Do you like the direction of the Big 12? Yes, I like it a lot. I think it's highly competitive. I think they have a lot of good teams, and they're healthy. They got money. They got TV. They're alive. In a world where everybody's dying, Big 12's living. UCF money line is a gift. Am I right? I don't know. It sounds right. It sounds right. UCF's gonna beat Boise. Sounds right. The most inconsistent thing in this world is a man between the age of 18 and 22. Ask any girl out there. So kids can let you down, but it sounds right. Would you take a non-conference question if someone tipped you $20? I know you don't need the coin, though. I definitely need the coin. I'll take it every time. If you have a $20 tip with a question, I don't give a shit what day it is. I'll answer your question. I'll be real with you guys. If you're throwing out $20 for an answer, I got you. But listen, the minute I said I'm not answering these questions, unless it's a Big 12 question, we're down to 86 viewers. We're down to 230 on TikTok. Because these kids don't want to have a real conversation. They don't want to learn about the sport. They just want to know, are they getting any answers today? Oh, we didn't get no info. We're out of here. They're not genuine followers of my channel. They don't believe in me. They believe in get-rich-quick schemes. They just want the quick answers to the test, and they're out. They don't want to learn anything. I don't like people like that. Feel me? I don't even get down with people like that. It makes me not want to do a show. I keep all the information myself. Will Cincinnati win? It's a loaded question. I'll stay away from it. I hope they play well. If they play well in the loss, that means they won. If they win, then they won. Do you think Emory Jones is the best quarterback in the Big 12? Not a chance in hell. Big 12 question. Do you claim that you called the Duke upset? Cole Mayette, I don't know what you're saying. I called the Duke upset in May, bro. Called the Duke upset multiple times over the summer. No one can replace Deuce Vaughn. That's a great comment. I believe it's true. You think Emory Jones has his career best season this with Cincinnati? He has to. He has to, Jaden. Yeah, I think it'll be his best year. Nebraska versus Colorado. I'm pretty sure that's not a Big 12 question. Do you think K-State can win the Big 12 this year? They won it last year and got no respect. I think they have a lot of motivation to win it again. Yeah, Adrian Martinez, they're missing some people, bro. They're missing Deuce Vaughn. They're missing some defenders. They're missing some people. I don't know how easy it is to win the Big 12 this year. Last year was a fluke accident. They did well. They got it done when it mattered most, but I don't think they were the most dominant team in the Big 12. They definitely weren't the best team in the Big 12. They won the conference, but they weren't the best team. And that would have to be another scenario this year. They would have to, if you want them to win the Big 12, they're going to do it, but they're not the best team in the Big 12. They got a lot of work to do. Overall thoughts on Tech losing. I believe the coaching change will end up being positive, but man, our loss Saturday was tough. So, what coaching change? The loss is tough. You can't go on the road and lose to Wyoming, if that's what we're talking about. That can't happen. Do you think the Oregon-Texas Tech game will be a shootout? Oregon looks great, but doubts on Tech's ability to hang. I think Tech can score, if that's what you're saying, if that's what you're asking. Texas Tech can score. Will they keep up? I don't anticipate it, but they can score with anybody. So I think the over is there. If it's not the over, Oregon blows them out. If it's not the over, Oregon blows them out. That's how I feel about it. No faith in the Pokes. I don't know who the Pokes are. Who are the Pokes? Is that Oklahoma State? Final score prediction for Oregon versus Tech. I don't do that. I don't guess at final scores. The hell? I'd be wrong all day if I did a final score prediction. Who do you guys think I am? I analyze players and matchups. I don't sit here and go, well, that looks like to be, final score 36-23. If I did that shit, you know what would happen? I'd lose all credibility. No one would ever watch my channel. I would miss 100 times out of 100. There's people in the comments doing this shit all day long. I think so-and-so is going to win. And if they're wrong, nobody holds them accountable. I can't be wrong. The shit's recorded. Somebody out there is keeping my stats. I can't just guess at shit. That's bananas, bro. You want me to guess at the final score of a game? I think it'll be close at the coin toss. I've asked like 6 Big 12 questions. You haven't answered any. Preston Jones. I haven't seen a single one, bro. I saw one, dude. Relax. Maybe you don't know how it works. I'm reading the fucking questions. I'm reading the comments one at a time. No matter when you ask them, sit tight. I'll eventually get to it. If you don't like it, leave. What's wrong with you guys? Is there anyone else in the world doing a podcast, doing Q&A off the cuff with all their followers? Is there anyone else in the world taking questions from the viewers and answering them off the cuff? I just need to know, is there a show out there like that anywhere? Where? Is there a show on ESPN I don't know about? I see Coach JB talking. Is he talking to anybody? The fuck is wrong with you guys, man? How do you expect Ewers to perform this weekend against Bama? It doesn't look good, Alex Spinner. You know, he had a bad game, and Bama's got a game plan, obviously. I'd expect him to improve, but I wasn't too encouraged by his performance. You know what? I'd be really pumped if Texas won the game, but it doesn't look good for the home team. I'm staying away from that game completely. Completely. When are you covering UFC? Thanks. Snipe guys, you ask questions, I'll talk about it, but I'm probably not going to do any UFC live streams during the football season, so only off season. Aaliyah Boston made more NIL than she's making as a first-round pick of the WNBA. Exactly. Stay in college. Keep getting paid. What is Oklahoma's ceiling this year? Thoughts on Daniel Herschel Jr., kid from Kansas. No thoughts on Herschel Jr. and ceiling for Oklahoma. They play in the Power 5. And they're undefeated as we speak. So the ceiling's the national title. Rico, I'm a Baylor alum, and that game was embarrassing. What do you think needs to change besides our trash O-line? Sergio, you need to find a quarterback, like a marquee quarterback. You need to convince a kid to come to your program. Is Cincy real? They're real. They're really in the Big 12. They're really in the Big 12. That's where I'm at on that. If you think they're real, like they're going to be good, they lost 4 or 5 of their best players to Wisconsin. Satterfield's doing the best he can. Satterfield's a good coach initially. Then guys start thinking he's not good. But losing Jaheim Thomas to the transfer portal to Wisconsin hurt like hell this spring. Imagine Jaheim Thomas, a 4-star kid who stayed home to play with you guys. And then he goes through spring ball, and he's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to Arkansas. That sucks. That's terrible. Once OU and Texas leave, do you realistically think the top 2 or 3 teams will be? Utah, K-State look to be building up their programs nicely. Yeah, D-Biz, there's a lot of teams out there. I love the trajectory of Utah and K-State. I like Texas Tech. I like Colorado, Arizona State. Some of these teams are doing well in recruiting. They have great young coaches that are attractive. I try not to project 2-3 years down the line, though. I want to be very clear. I just live week by week. I do not. You never hear me talk about the NFL draft coming up. You don't hear me talking about bowl games or national championships or playoffs. So I sure as hell I'm not talking about next season. I don't live like that. That's some crazy. That's just speculative nonsense. That's just nonsense. It's wasted energy. If you don't waste any energy, let me tell you something. If you waste 0 time on recruiting, oh, he's down to his final 8 schools, his final 5 schools. He does. Don't use any energy on that. Don't read any of those stories. Just stay away from all of them. Stay away from any story that is a rumor. Okay? Rumor and recruiting. And then the last one is stay away from anything subjective, like just somebody's opinion. Stay away from those 3 things. Meaning stay fact-based. Only worry about players that are in the 2 deep at a particular school, meaning they're on the field contributing. Do you know how much energy you'll have and how much knowledge you'll have on the game if you stay away from all that shit? Like if you don't waste any time reading bullshit recruiting, stay away from rivals and 24/7. Just stay away from them. And just stay focused on the rosters and the press releases from the school and the injury reports and the depth charts from the school. You will know so much more about your team. You will know so much more about the players. And when you're not learning about those aspects of it, study those individual players. Now you want to go watch a huddle film? Only go watch it on the players on the team. You want to study a player? Only watch it on the players of that team. Do not waste energy on opinion pieces or rumors or what's going to happen in 5 years. That's how you get it done. Alex Whiteleather says, Cincy Pitt, what chance you give the Bearcats this weekend? I like the Bearcats this weekend. I think Pitt's going to be down this year. I think Pitt's going to struggle. But I like the Bearcats. In that game, I really want Cincy to win the game. I'm not betting on it. I want Cincy to win the game. Not betting on it. Thoughts on General Booty? Do you think he will stick with OU or transfer out at the end of the season? I think he can do whatever he wants. Does he want a degree from Oklahoma? He's not a football player. He's not playing anywhere. He could transfer if he wants. Once again, that's rumor and speculation. I don't do rumor or speculation. Texas versus Alabama prediction. Texas looks sloppy and Alabama looks sharp compared to my personal respective expectations for them. Yeah, total flip from one week to the next. Hence my top 25 changing. I really think Alabama looked dominant and looked ready and prepared and looked like a well-coached team. Texas looked like a very talented team that is not well-coached, and that's a bad sign. Hope they put it together. Hope it's a good game, but I feel like Alabama looked very dominant. What would need to happen for a coaching change at OK State? If they lose this season, if they lose a lot this season, I can't imagine giving Gundy another pass. Gundy fell apart in the polls, or not the polls, but the transfer portal this offseason. He lost all his good players right in the winter. He played catch-up all spring long, and he backfilled with substandard players. He backfilled with players that weren't as good as the ones that departed. He lost a couple of players to other schools when he could have closed the deal. But Gundy's his message is old. His message is stale. I think if they have a losing record, ask him to just step down. What are your thoughts on UCF minus 3.5 against Boise? I feel like UCF's better than that. That's my thoughts. I feel like UCF is better than that against Boise. I think Boise got their face smashed in by Washington, and they should probably get their face smashed in by UCF. That's how I feel inside. I wouldn't bet on it, but that's how I feel. Who's the best new Big 12 team? So the best new Big 12 team is Houston. They are the best team. But I think BYU might play better this year since he has an easier schedule and UCF has a good quarterback. So it might not reflect it on the field, but Houston has the best team talent-wise out of all of them. They really do. Houston's got ballers. But they didn't win with ballers last year. They had Tank Dell. Right? They still didn't win. They still lost games they weren't supposed to. It's because their coach sucks. Dana Holgorsen, I've never seen a guy do less with more. Prediction for the Big 12 championship game. I don't ever do that stuff. Preston Jones, that's why I don't answer your questions. Your questions are ridiculous. You want me to predict a championship game. Who gives a shit what I say? Let the season happen. Why are we wasting energy guessing at shit? Why do you think Quinn Ewers was kind of off this week? His stats were good, but he wasn't making the necessary throws on the deep ball. Yeah, it's a rhythm thing. It might be a distraction thing. You know, when your own team doesn't believe in you and everybody keeps talking about the backup quarterbacks more than the starter, it can be kind of off-putting, and it can hurt your reps. If other receivers on the team are trying to get reps in with the other quarterbacks and having continuity with them in the offseason, you might not get the same amount of reps. It's crazy. That's how I feel about it. It sucks. So I hope Ewers fixes it and gets better. Jacob says, sorry, Rico. Sorry for the non-Big 12 question. But don't think you talk about Group of 5 until Sunday. That's true. What are your thoughts on ECU versus Marshall? ECU favored to lose by 4 points, and Albany kept it close. Yeah, I talked about this on Sunday. You didn't have to pay $10, Jacob. I appreciate you, man. The tip matters to me. But I already talked about this on Sunday. If you wanted to just go watch the live stream that's posted for Sunday, you could definitely watch it and find this information. But let me tell you how I feel. I feel like Marshall has one of the best running backs in the country that no one's talking about, and I think they're going to beat ECU. ECU's in a rebuilding year. They don't have a good offense. They struggle to score. They've lost their quarterback, their running back, their 3 wide receivers. They lost everything. So for me, yes, Marshall had a tough time with Albany. Albany's actually a pretty decent team, but I don't care about the line. I would stay away from the line altogether. I just like Marshall's football team. At the same time, Marshall, it's their first time in Sunbelt, right? Marshall just moved over to Sunbelt, or the American? No, they moved over to Sunbelt or American? Sunbelt. It just feels like Marshall has a better rushing attack. That's how I feel. Is Emory Jones a Heisman caliber? No. You got to be an undefeated team or near the top. I don't feel that way. You think Neil Brown is on the hot seat? Yeah, I made a video about it before the season a couple months ago. If you want to go find it, it just happens. You know, he's on the hot seat. He's on the hot seat. He better win he better win his bowl game. He better get to a bowl game and win it. How about that? Good luck doing that, but that's what he needs to do. Big 12 question. What up, Bane Allen? How do you think UC looks, and how big of a hole do they have from Jaheim Thomas leaving? Yeah, hey, I talked about it earlier. So Jaheim Thomas, what a beast of a linebacker, 4-star kid who stayed home in the city of Cincinnati, the state of Ohio, but he finally left, and that was after last year finally breaking into the starting lineup. So is it a big hole or not? You know, is it a big hole or not? I don't know. We're gonna find out. But he is a stud. That's a beast of a guy. So sucks to lose him. That's all I can say there. It really sucks to lose him. Thank you, Kenneth Rubin. I appreciate the super chat. You're a beast, man. Thank you so much for taking care of the channel and taking care of me. You know, any tip you guys give, I want to remind you guys. There are OnlyFans models out there making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I'm better than any OnlyFans model. I know I don't take my clothes off, but I'm better than these girls. All right? Netflix is how much a month? I'm better than Netflix, bro. You guys just got to believe in me. Watch the show every day. Watch the content. We're better than all of them. You got to believe in us. Thank you for supporting us, though. We can't do it without you. Thank you so much. Cincinnati money line this weekend. Thoughts? I would stay away from the game completely. Do you? But I wouldn't do it. I'm not betting on a lot of games this weekend, guys. Stop doing that. Stop asking me about all the bets. I'm not doing it. It's week 2. It's dangerous. How long do you think it will be until Oklahoma State is a contender again, if at all, with their old style and approach? Yeah, D-Dub, it's going to be when they start getting more money. Remember, who's the guy that built the whole thing? Boone Pickens? Gave them all their facilities and all their – remember when they had Bobby Reed? Anybody remember Oklahoma State when they had all their star players in the early 2000s? I'm talking Des Bryant and the boys. I'm talking about Bobby Reed at quarterback, and there's some other guys. I mean, they had a great team, great facilities, great everything. They're just spending a ton of money, and they're not doing that anymore because Pickens died. Their number one booster passed away. So now, what do they have? Now, how are they becoming more appealing? They still have the nice stadium, the nice practice facility, everything, but they had it all. They had the other kid, the wide receiver who failed out of Jacksonville. Who was he? Forgetting his name right now. It'll come to me. Justin Blackman. Justin Blackman, great team, great players. They were studs, bro. They were studs. And they're not going to get back there unless they can find a 5-star quarterback interested in going to that school. Okay? Hey, Rico, appreciate your work. What up, Salt in the SWAT? Shout out to the Sandlot. Will anyone outside of K-State, OU, and UT have a shot at the college football playoff? Keep inspiring us, Joes. So, out of those 3, Texas Tech can still run the table. Outside of those 3, Kansas is still very viable because they have a good quarterback. But TCU could go and run the table, right? There's possibilities all over the place. Is it likely? No. I don't think it's very likely at all. But more power to them. Good luck. Shout out to anybody in the Big 12. I don't think a Big 12 team will be a representative in the college football playoffs. Not trying to predict the future. I don't think one comes from the Big 12. No, because unless it's Oklahoma. Because I feel like Texas is going to lose, and only Oklahoma will have a leg to stand on. Like only Oklahoma, if they got to be undefeated though. Last season, week 1, Quinn Ewers looked amazing, but ever since the injury, he hasn't had good timing or accuracy. Even though Texas has a lot of money into him, do they pull him before the OU game? Yeah, the amount of money they have in these players does not dictate their playing time. Let me make that very clear. The schools are not paying these players. So the fact that you think Texas has a lot of money in Quinn Ewers is not a true statement at all. Universities are not paying players. It's illegal. Collectives are paying players. And collectives do not influence the playing time of the players. No way in hell. This is not the NFL. This is not corrupt city. We don't give a shit what your NIL deal is, or deals plural. You're not getting in. There are freshmen with great NIL deals. It doesn't matter. They're not starting. That's not happening. Coaches are going to play their best 11. Does Oregon go embarrass Tech in Lubbock this weekend? I don't think they embarrass them. I think they beat them. How do you feel about Hawaii's quarterback and the Mountain West as a whole? Anybody have a shot for a big bowl bid in that conference? So, Tyler Zan, if anybody has a shot for a big bowl bid in the Mountain West, they would have to be undefeated. And I just don't see it. I mean, Wyoming's the only team left that can really be undefeated. Best teams out there are teams like San Jose State, Boise, San Diego State, which is super boring. But they look like Wyoming's the only team that's there, and they don't have the firepower for it. I think Mountain West is going to be down this year. They're just above the MAC when it comes to players. I love Hawaii. I made a video on their quarterback. I made a video on them as in general. I love Timmy Chang as a head coach. I love a lot of things they're doing, but to be a big bowl bid in that is absurd. The big bowl bid means it's only one big bowl bid coming from the group of 5, and that's going to be in the American or the Sun Belt, really. Troy has a shot, right? So I believe in Troy a lot. Tulane, those teams, not some of these really average teams in the Mountain West, at least not the way they're playing. Do you think Oklahoma has the ability to go undefeated, or is this year to prove themselves here? Yeah, Jess Coker, I think they're very good. I think next year they can win the national title. There we go. You want me to start making predictions for next year? Could Evan Prater become a good college wide receiver? He plays for UC. Yeah, we know who he is. I've never watched him play wide receiver. Bain Allen. I've never watched him play wide receiver. He lost the quarterback battle. They move him to receiver, just trying to keep him on the team and keep him out of the portal. But I haven't seen him play, so I can't make that assessment. You think UCF will be good this year? They look good. They look fine. They look exciting and powerful, yeah. How did Texas Tech lose to Wyoming? You had them going 9-3. Yeah, I don't play games for these kids. They scored 17 points in the first quarter and then stopped scoring. What do you want me to do about that? Like, I don't play games, dude. I make predictions based on the preseason. Look, even if I make predictions, they're not all going to be right. Some are going to be wrong. I have no control over coaching decisions, the weather, injuries, the lack of effort by these players, the opposition's effort. I have no control over any of this shit. How coaches are going to utilize players. Like Dre McCray is the best receiver at Texas Tech. He only had 1 reception for 33 yards week 1 against Wyoming. I would have thrown the ball at least 10 times. I would have given him all the targets. We're built different. This is why when in my business and what I do, I analyze players, I analyze teams, I analyze coaches, but I can't predict what they're going to do with them. This is why I don't do mock drafts. Rico, who's going to get drafted here? Who's going to do that? I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. I can't guess what 32 different GMs are going to do. I don't know all their personalities. I don't know what 133 head coaches are going to do. Do you think Dabo will be on the hot seat with a disappointing season this year? Not at all. Dylan Turner, Dabo Sweeney has won like 10 ACC championships in a row. Hot seat, this is it's like this younger generation wants instant gratification. Like you guys want to make 6 figures from day one. I'm telling you this right now. I'm a senior leader in the Army. I was just showing Kim my paycheck today. And I said, hey, look, this is how much I make. And I was going through it all. You know what I didn't show her? I didn't show her what I used to make. Because you kids wouldn't be able to handle the fact that every 2 weeks I was taking home $600 a month. $600 every 2 weeks, $1,200 a month. And I had to do that for like 3 years before I made any money. And then I got promoted to sergeant, and then I got promoted to staff sergeant, sergeant first class. And guys, I was a staff sergeant or sergeant first class for 7 years. No real pay raises, no promotions. 7 years just sitting there. And I've been a master sergeant for 5 years now. Could you imagine getting a job and not asking for a raise for 7 years? Not getting promoted, just in the same work. And you guys ever go to school, elementary school? Do you guys remember your janitor? Do you guys ever remember the janitor in your elementary school? That dude was doing that shit for 30 years. And he was just a janitor over and over and over. I'm serious. You guys need a raise every 6 months or you're quitting. These coaches need to be winning national title. Dude, only one coach is going to win the national title. There's 133 coaches in America, and only 5 of them have won a national title. And 2 of them are Jimbo Fisher. And who's the other guy? The old man in North Carolina. Like, what are we doing? You guys don't. Yesterday I got a question. Should Penn State fire their coach if they don't win the national championship? Like after winning the Rose Bowl. Fucking Dabo Sweeney just won the conference last year. I know Mac Brown's name. I'm just talking. Dabo Sweeney won the conference last year. And you're asking if he's on the hot seat if they have a bad year? He could have a bad decade. Why would he ever be on the hot seat? That's nuts. Where am I at? Who you got winning the Big 12? I don't have anybody winning the Big 12. Watch the games. SEC tomorrow, baby. Yes, we'll be talking SEC, and I'm sure I'll come in here and get a bunch of questions about UTSA and Texas State. Do you think Troy has a chance to beat K-State? Gunnar Watson, Kamani is a good backfield IMO. Yeah, I think they're both really good players. Do they have a chance? Yeah, they're playing each other. I wouldn't bet on it, but I think they have a chance. I need everybody to understand what I'm saying. They're playing each other, so they obviously have a fighter's chance, a puncher's chance, but that's it. Stay away from everything else. Root for the little guy. Hope for the best. Does Texas Tech still have a chance to win the Big 12? Yep. Yeah. Their loss was out of conference. First super chat, thanks to Nate Barrett. He did send a super chat. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you coming here just to learn, absorb the knowledge, and keep it going. Thank you guys for being here. We do have 325 people watching. And the people on TikTok, I don't look at your comments. I don't reply to your questions or comments. You're not asking any questions. You need to go to the link, join us on YouTube, put a question in the YouTube, and I will answer it. Show ends in 40 minutes. Hope you get your question read. You think UCF will be good this year? They look fine. They look fine. I think it's the Big 12. They'll be competitive in a lot of games. Cincinnati season outlook, thoughts on Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati. New coach, revitalized. Hope they play well. Let's see what happens this week, and then we can give a whole kind of assessment or prediction on their whole season at that point. When's the Big 12 going away? Not anytime soon, Romeo. Not anytime soon. They got a great TV deal with ESPN. They got a lot of stability. They are the #1 basketball conference in America. They've won 2 out of the last 3 national championships in basketball, having just gone back-to-back before UConn won. So, you guys, Big 12 is strong as hell. Big 12 is going nowhere. Please understand that. They're a dominant wrestling conference as well. You guys are tripping. How do you feel about Texas Tech versus Oregon? I feel like Oregon's going to win the game. Which Big 12 team do you think is the most improved? Oklahoma. It's that simple. Oklahoma. Rico Knows is him. Boomer. Thank you very much, Eric Rosser. Thank you. Is Texas Tech any good? Yeah, I think they're good. Just, you're playing better teams. Thoughts on KU versus Illinois. Talked about it already. Rewind the show. Thoughts on Emory Jones. 6 touchdowns. Talked about it. I think he's great. Who was a Big 12 player who didn't transfer in to the conference and made an impact week 1 that wasn't expected? Who's a Big 12 player who didn't transfer into the conference and made an impact that wasn't expected? A week 1 impact that wasn't expected? Huh. Who didn't transfer in? It's a tough question. For me, it's a difficult question. I'd have to get back to you. The majority of the players that I want to highlight are always transfers. And if I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, it's like there are sophomores and juniors that were recruited in just fine, and they made impacts. But if I have to pick a particular player, one, I don't want to be wrong and miss someone. So that's why I never answer those questions. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little too analytical for that. Preach. Thank you. UCF, Boise State game. Yeah, I like UCF to win the game. I know today is Big 12 day, but since Notre Dame isn't in a conference, I talk about them on Monday, ACC day. What new rivalries do you think will become interesting in the new Big 12? Well, I don't know if they're going to be new rivalries. You can only have one real rivalry, right? But obviously, BYU and Utah are back. They're going to be playing each other. That really interests me immensely. That's the biggest one for me. Arizona State is still a rivalry that I love. But BYU and Utah, two new teams entering and having beef. I'm curious to see who becomes the rival for UCF. I don't have a clue. They're out there in Florida with no one else to fight. That's really weird when you don't have a rival, but there you go. It's facts about these Google kids. I'm just being real. Watching one stream of yours is one of the best ways to learn about college football besides actually watching them yourself. Thank you, Wilder Whom. I'm glad you get it, brother. What Big 12 transfers do you think will have the biggest impact this year? Transfers into the Big 12? There's like one on every single team. There's one on every single team. Let's say OU goes 5-0, but DG doesn't look great through those games. OU goes 5. Dylan Gabriel. Could you see Jackson Arnold named the starter? Or is Dylan Gabriel's the starter, man? Dylan Gabriel's the starter. I love Jackson Arnold and everything he does. I hope he beats him out by the end of the year. I hope they need him and all this other stuff. I'm a huge Jackson Arnold guy. Best freshman quarterback in the country. I've been saying all this all offseason. But Dylan Gabriel's there for a reason. Let him play. Courtney Smith, just a bunch of laughing. Alabama offensive line versus Texas defensive line. Which players do you like in the matchup? I actually like Texas defensive line a lot. So I like them in that matchup. I'm in it for the long haul. Word. Yeah, there are a lot of young cats wanting betting tips in here, asking about teams not even in the Big 12. Exactly. They will be ignored. Do you think Ewers is NFL talent? I still think Texas. They all tell me he's NFL talent. I look at him and see an NFL player. I have no idea what the NFL thinks of him. Real talk. Emory Jones and Cincy opinion. I like them. Rewind the show. Some of these players are bookies looking to frustrate you. That's fine. Touchstone, you're part of the problem. Thank you very much. What's your thoughts on Neil Brown? Rewind the show. Think he should be fired eventually. Sounds like my first star in LMAO. More than one negative paperwork, and you're out. Exactly. Huge fan and love your takes, even if you're, bullish. Thank you, Ethan Villa, again. Should Iowa State try to get in the Big 10? No. No, not at all. Appears that players play hard for Neil Brown. It's a shame he's going to get fired. Bad school in a bad state. Yeah, Robert Nutter, I don't necessarily know if that's true. I think the players that he gets in the program want to play for him really hard, but a lot of guys left because he rubbed them the wrong way, right? He wasn't conducive to them. There's some reports on this. I've read them ad nauseum. I even made a video about it now that I remember it last year. Some of you guys are killing the show. They are, Lewis. Lewis has been here for every single show. Lewis Henton has been here for every single show. He knows what I like to do. I like to have a good time, talk to you guys, but a lot of you rubbed me the wrong way today, and it really pissed me off, and it threw off the vibe of the show. That's just real. You children come in here and ruin it for everyone, and when you do that, you don't recognize that you're actually hurting yourself. You're losing a product. That's the reality of the situation. UCF only has – it's like having a nice restaurant in your city, and you show up and you start just damaging it and destroying it. And you don't realize it until they close it and they take it out of your city to begin with, and it's no longer there anymore. And then you go around going, man, there's nothing to do around here. Man, this city sucks. I don't know what to do. No, you suck. That's why you've never succeeded in life. UCF only has a 3.5-point spread against Boise. Am I wrong to like UCF? You're not wrong. Just I told you guys I wouldn't be betting on every single game. You're not wrong, but I wouldn't bet on every single game. what day do you talk about the Pac-12? Nate Wilson, my schedule is posted on YouTube and TikTok. It's on the pinned videos. But I talk about the Pac-12 on Friday. Same, I just want to know about UCF. And just sit tight and be patient. I already talked about them. Respect, Rico, you know. Thank you very much, J. Lou. Please make the chat members only. I and so many others would love to pay for your knowledge. Been watching for almost a year now. Jacob, we will set that up. I've never done that before, but we will set that up moving forward. Thank you very much. It's unfortunate. They ruined a free thing, brother. They ruined a free thing. Nate, he did yesterday. Exactly. They're not here to talk about it. GME beat earnings again. Yeah, we saw you losing your mind with a helmet on. I think you piss in a bottle. I don't know what your problem is, rants with your helmet. That looked absolutely ridiculous. I loved your rant yesterday about privilege. It was deep. Cave Rogue, I loved your tip on me yesterday, bro. That's real. You know, sometimes I get real with you guys and we go deep on certain things. It can't happen every day because it's actually emotionally exhausting sometimes. That's real. Does TCU have a quarterback problem? No. They have a defensive problem. Their quarterback's not the problem. They put up a bunch of points. They scored all kinds of points. It's not the quarterback problem. Chandler's fine. It's a defensive problem. It's a talent problem. Chaz Crawford, it's not that deep. Chaz Crawford, it's not that deep. I don't even know who Chaz Crawford is. I know it was Arkansas State, but were you surprised how improved OU's D was, or was it just the team? It was definitely the team they played. I'm not surprised if Oklahoma's defense is good. I know it's not Lane Kiffin coaching there, so stop associating Oklahoma with bad defense. It's not the case. They got good players, good athletes. So no, but Eric Rosser, Arkansas State's one of the worst teams in America. One of the worst teams in America. I apologize for asking the dumb Dabo question. I'm young and I want to learn. Love your content, man. Dylan Turner, thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Yeah, man. Sometimes you guys, they always tell you, man. I'm not religious, but God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. And that means you should listen more than you speak. And if you have things to say or you think a certain way, what I would tell everybody, I would recommend everybody to do this. Start your own channel and start making videos and just start talking and see if anybody's rocking with what you're saying. And if you give a sports take that's so impressive that people write back to you and say, hey, man, tell me about this. Tell me about this and tell me about this. Then that means your opinion and your input is valued. And people respect what you have to say about something. I need you guys to understand that that's exactly what I started doing. Shout out to Worst Take. There's a guy named Worst Take. I just saw him right now in the chat down on TikTok. Worst Take is a dude. Just another guy hanging out. Just your average, everyday sports fan. And I shit you not. Worst Take will sit there, make a video, and give his opinion on something. And just make it. Doesn't care if you're rocking with it or not. He's not making any money. He's just there doing it. But I respect the perspective and the approach immensely. Because when you have an opinion on something, instead of spamming me like a child, just make your own video. There are kids who stitch my videos and duet my videos for clout, for clicks. And they're misunderstanding how to create a following. How you create a following is with conviction, credibility, and accuracy. Now, you got to be charismatic. You got to be, you can't start telling a story. You guys ever been talking to somebody and they tell you a story and you don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about? Because it's so broken up, segmented, and it's just, even if they're trying to tell you the right story. I was just telling Kim this the other day. I said, I used to date this girl. And I didn't know her name. We used to go on dates for 3 months. I didn't know her name. I remember going to her house and trying to find mail so I could learn what her name was. I didn't know her name. I just called her Babe after a while. Saved her in my phone, saved her name in my phone as Babe. And just said, fuck it. I don't know who she is. She wasn't worth remembering because every time she talked, it was I just shut her off. She didn't matter. And you guys writing in the chat and think you're moving me with your comments and your hate and all this, I just write you off, bro. You guys ain't shit to me. It doesn't even matter. Because every comment you write gives me a view. And every view I get paid. I'm serious. I'm living a great life, and you think you're teaching me something, and you're not. You're wasting energy. I got a lot of respect for anybody stepping to me, anybody giving out sports takes. Remember, I don't do debate shows. I've been invited to debate shows. Oh, Rico, I really want to see you debate this guy and put him in his place. I do educate shows. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to educate. I say that every single time. So if you're in here and you're just trying to argue with me in the chats, Rico doesn't know, da-da-da. I've never met a single person that I didn't agree with that I wanted to talk to. I never saw a guy and was like, yo, I want to go tell him he's not any good. If I think you ain't shit, I'm just changing the channel. I was in a barbershop today. Stephen A. Smith came on the TV, and I lost it. I looked at Kim and said, we gotta move. I don't even want to hear this motherfucker's voice. I don't even want to hear this guy's voice. There's nothing he can say that's going to teach me anything. There are people on this app who just talk and create content, and none of it is valuable. None of it is valuable. And then the one guy who's actually making content that will teach you things about this game, you want to try to troll him. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. You guys are sick, bro. Back to the chat. If Sark goes 8-4, do you think Texas boots him? I feel like they have a history of just having very short patience, and their expectations this year are higher than they should be, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to boot Sark if they go 8-4. No. They went 8-5 and had a tremendous recruiting class. They go 8-4. They're going to the SEC. They'll wait to see if he can coach in the SEC. They want to see what he can do with his recruits. It's kind of like when you get a draft pick. If you drafted a first-round quarterback, you don't fire the coach. Let him try to win with his quarterback at some point, right? Pair him up. So his whole legacy will be based upon his relationship with Arch Manning, Quinn Ewers, whoever they decided to start at quarterback, whatever it is. He's going to get time. It's not the same like George. It's not the same like Herman. Do you think Oklahoma State is struggling versus Arizona State this week? Both teams were very underwhelming this past weekend. So, yeah, although I think they're very underwhelming, I'm watching the game. I'm gathering data off that game. I'm not interested in that game as far as like betting goes at all. I'm just watching it for data collection. I need to see if the players are learning anything under Dillingham. Is Oklahoma State still relevant? Like, I need to know. I'll watch it for data collection at best. Stephanie V says 126K already. Congrats, Rico. Just here to support and learn. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, we got 26,000 followers in the last 6 days. Yeah, we're on pace for something crazy, guys. That's very normal for me. We're on pace for something crazy. I'm blowing out every record there ever was. I'm telling you guys right now. Everybody who says, oh, look, he's got 200,000 followers, Rico. Remember when that alphabet kid, that anemic beta male, tried to step to me and call me racist? You guys remember. Ant NFL. I think his name is Ant NFL. Auntie NFL. You know what I'm talking about? Auntie Ash. Auntie Ash. You don't know that guy? Oh my God. Yeah, he had 221,000 followers when I had 30,000. I think he's got 8,000 more now. I don't know. I got 100,000. I'm running down everybody. I'm taking the crown. I'll be the number one guy in this whole thing. Just give it a year or two. I'm not stressing it. Ain't shit to me, bro. Just another day. Another day, another dollar. But thank you for the support, Steph. I appreciate you. What newcomer team in the Big 12 do you think will have the best record? Preston Jones. Out of the 4 new teams, I think Cincinnati will have the best record. They have the easiest schedule. Cincinnati doesn't play, I believe it's Texas, Oklahoma, or K-State. I think that's what it is. It's something like that. They don't play 3 of the perennial powers. They have an amazingly easy schedule. Shout out to Cincy. Hope they get it done. LOL, the junkies are here. Purnell watching this, a fact. Thoughts on KU and Illinois on Friday? Rewind the show. I know this is the future Big 12 question, but is the Holy War going to be the most notable rivalry in the Big 12 going forward? It has to be. It has to be. It's not a huge TV market, but it's got to matter. I'd imagine Colorado's going to have some rivals. Some people are going to want to beat Colorado as long as Coach Prime is there and relevant. How do you feel about the Texas Tech? Oh, by the way, Texas Tech Baylor, that'll become a real rivalry. How do you feel about Texas Tech versus Oregon? Rewind the show. Hey, Rico, in theory, can you take the same level of analysis and apply it? I figured it would be harder with at least 3 months in between fights, and fighters love evolving, love the channel. Cade Bearden, UCF. You can ask anybody in this chat, or you can go watch my live streams. I have them all posted for UCF. Go to the live tab and watch them. I call UCF fights, and I pick the winner. I'm not even exaggerating. 90% of the time. I don't try to guess what round it's going to end in. Is it submission or knockout? I don't do any of that stuff. I just pick the winner 90% of the time. It might even be higher. What do you think it is, sweetie? 90% on UCF fights?
I think it's higher.
You think it's higher? Yeah, I know one night I got like 7 to 9 in a row. And I started 0-2 for the night on the early prelims because I didn't know 2 of the fighters. And I was like, I'll just go here. I'll go here. I was 0-2, and then I just ripped off like 9 in a row. I'm a UFC guy all day. I'm an MMA fighter. I've been an MMA coach. I'm a mixed martial artist my entire life. I'm an all-Army fighter, combatives Army fighter. You know what, babe? Where's that plaque? Go get that plaque. This will be good for you guys to see. Kim just moved in last week, but she's going through my office. I have an office over there, and I don't put any decorations up, like any of my achievements or my awards. Everything's put away. I've been in the Army over 20 years. And she finds this plaque. And she's like, babe, why don't you have this up? These guys all think you can't do shit. She's like, this is crazy. And I'm like, it's all good. I don't care whether they believe me or not. But check out this plaque. It's right here. And this plaque says it right here. Master Army Combative Sensei. If you know anything about Army Combatives, there's a video flying around TikTok with it. I am a level 4 Army Combatives instructor, the highest level in the Army. I'm a Master Army Combatives instructor. And my people love me to death. There's videos of me on YouTube teaching fighting, and I've been fighting for 20 years. And I've been, just as recently as this year, I was making money for a living. I was an MMA instructor for a living. And they actually wanted me to teach Krav Maga, which I'd never taught before. But I am a jiu-jitsu guy. I'm a Muay Thai guy, kickboxing, striking. I'm a wrestler by trade. I know everything. And so for me, to get paid to fight was a dream come true. Unfortunately, the gym owner wanted me on the mat like, how many hours a day was I working?
12.
Like 12 hours a day on the mat was insane. I was just teaching classes. As soon as he got me, he's like, yo, man, this guy could teach every class. And he's like, teach this class. And I was on the mat 12 hours straight, and I was only making $50,000. I was like, dude, I love doing this, but you got to be shitting me, man. I can't do this. I'm 40 years old. I don't want to fight 6 days a week. And he was only giving me Sunday off. I said, dude, we got to work something out. He's like, Rico, I need you. I quit. I just quit. I said, nah, man, I don't even need the money. I'm out of here. And I quit, and I went full-time on TikTok. True story. So, yeah, I don't even know how I went off on that tangent other than to say I do know all the right fighters. I do understand fighting really well. I'm very informed on it, and I tend not to miss on UFC fights. Unfortunately, football season, I watch football more than anything else, so that's how that goes. You see what just happened, Jake Hainer? Yes, I just saw what happened with Jake Hainer. Yep, I'm a Louisville fan and wanted to see what you had to say about Satterfield. Yep, I think very highly of Satterfield as a coach. I know he's not very likable. She's just getting scratched, baby. She's okay. I know he's not very likable, but I think he's doing well with Cincy, so more power to him. What am I drinking? I'm always drinking flavored water. I don't drink anything else except for flavored water and Dr. Pepper. I know I can count on at least one Aaron Rodgers stray. Yes, you can. Standout transfer performers in the Big 12 last week. Oh, standout transfers in the Big 12. Who's in the Big 12? Baylor? No. Texas Tech? Dre McCray did not play great. No. Iowa State? None. Oklahoma? Nobody stood out to me. Trying to go through all the Big 12 teams. Well, obviously, Emory Jones is a transfer from Arizona State. Emory Jones threw like 6 touchdowns against Eastern Kentucky. So Emory Jones is number 1 for sure. John Rice Plumlee is still a transfer from Ole Miss, so he played amazing. BYU has a lot of transfers. None of them played overly great against Sam Houston. Watched all the games. Wasn't impressed. Yeah, you consider Ewers a transfer. He's a transfer as well. So, yeah, there's some transfers there. If Dre McCray gets the ball significantly more than he did on Saturday, does Texas Tech win the game? Evan Kramer, they'll be in the game. I can't say that they win. Remember, Texas Tech's biggest issue is their defense. They just lost Tyree Wilson to the NFL draft. I feel like they can't stop. If you couldn't stop a dual-threat quarterback at Wyoming, who's not really a dual-threat quarterback, then what are we doing? Like, how are you going to stop Bo Nix and Oregon and all the receiver threats? They got a ton of receivers, guys. It's going to be a problem. What's your insight on OU, SMU? How do you think it plays out? I think it plays out like this. I think OU is going to score, and so is SMU. I feel like they're both going to score. So I think the over is in play, but the over is huge. I think they put it somewhere in the 80s, which is absurd. I think they did, or maybe it's high 60s. But I think, like, OU's supposed to win this game. If they want to be back and they want to be taken serious, they got to win this game. I love SMU, though. Transfer portal built teams are real. They're all playing great. I believe in every transfer portal team. Every transfer portal built team out there is it. So Texas State, Colorado, Florida State, SMU all use the transfer portal immensely this offseason, and we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I'm pulling for SMU in that game, by the way. My dog's humping my arm. If you guys didn't know, I'm under attack right now. She's just trying to get her love on. She's been missing me all day. Rico, I'm curious, after Colorado game, what is your prediction how the rest of TCU season will go? Rewind the show. Rico, did you know Jake Hanier was on roids? No. Does Tech have potential to have a KSU-style season? Are you selling on them? Oh, man. They have the potential there, Braden Ritter. Braden Ritter's asking if Texas Tech can still win the Big 12 despite an early Group of 5 loss, kind of like K-State had last year. I believe that's true. It's not likely. The other teams in the Big 12 are actually really good this year and really strong. It doesn't feel good. Since he's plus 7.5 at the moment, it sounds like somebody really believes in Pitt. I don't know. I don't believe in Pitt like that, but somebody really believes in Pitt. Maybe they know better than me. Who is the most overlooked Big 12 team right now, as of now? Oklahoma. As of right now, Oklahoma, they're the most overlooked Big 12 team. That's how I feel about it. Rico, do you think Jackson Arnold is quarterback number 1 away from Gabriel this season? I hope not. I hope Gabriel plays good all season. Do you think UCLA was able to put 13 on OSU because OSU has a bad defense? Seemed like some secondary guys were taking off plays in random times. UCA, my bad, UCA, University of Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas was able to put up 13 points on OSU because OSU has a bad defense. That's a fact. There's no other way to score. It's a scheming issue. It's not understanding your concepts and your reads. OSU lost 2 DBs to the transfer portal, some depth guys, some senior guys. They left to Tulsa. They lost some special teams guys. I just feel like OSU lost a lot. And it's new players having to learn a new scheme for them because they've never seen the field. Boise, pardon me, I'm getting a message here. Decline that. Boise, UCF, rewind the show. We got 14 minutes, guys. What about Texas quarterback long ball? I don't even know what that means. BYU only won 14. Yep, last week. Seth, and the line was 19.5, and I told you Sam Houston's really good. Playoff predictions are impossible to make this early in the season. It's too dependent on the rest of the teams as a whole. Exactly. It's just people just wanting to guess that shit and hope they hit. Or if you guess and you're wrong, they go, haha, you didn't know. Texas versus Alabama, what's the over-under? I have no clue. Google it. I'm not your Google. Who's the best quarterback and DB in the Big 12? Best quarterback, Quinn Ewers, right? That's what they say. So go with Quinn Ewers. Best defensive back? It's a loaded question. Nobody's coming to mind right off the rip as the best for me. Maybe you guys know a draft prospect you care about. Maybe there's some homer guy you care about. And that stuff doesn't matter to me. I don't think about draft prospects at all until after the season. I assess people's draft potential and draft worth and draft value. I don't care during the season. I don't even talk like that. That's why I don't try to do NFL projections at all. How was Vince Young trash in his final year? You said his stats were terrible when comparing him to Baker Mayfield a while back. He went to New York, and his stats seemed great to me. Yeah, so Vince Young, go back and look at his stats. They're not very good. He has 1,000 yards rushing, but his 2,600 yards passing, it's not even 3,000 yards passing. It's gross. He should not be in the conversation at all. Best quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield threw for like 14,000 yards, 131 touchdowns. Google it. I know the numbers. It's not even close. Vince Young had a season where he was good. It's like a Cam Newton type thing. Cam Newton had a good senior season as well. They had one good season each. I can't get down with that. I'm naming the best quarterbacks of all time. They're behind Colt Brennan. They're behind people who had entire careers dominating at the collegiate level. They are. You go watch the film and be all excited about one season. That's ridiculous. When is Neil Brown getting fired? Probably not during the season. Guys, he has the backing of his booster. What's his name? Kent Griffin? No. Ken Kendricks. Ken Kendricks is the billionaire owner of the Diamondbacks. Ken Kendricks dictates what happens at West Virginia. Period. Ken Kendricks is the reason Alabama has their dynasty. When Alabama was trying to hire a new coach back in 2007, they were trying to hire a new coach, and they wanted to hire Rich Rodriguez. Ken Kendricks, the billionaire, called Rich Rodriguez and said, what do we got to do to keep you at West Virginia? What do I got to pay you? And he gave him a number, and Ken Kendricks paid that number. And that's that. And then they had to go hire Saban at Alabama. They couldn't get Rich Rodriguez. They went and hired Saban. They had 24 hours to match the offer. They couldn't match it. They lost their coach, and they hired Saban, the consolation choice. True story. Because at this time, you had Pat White, Steve Slayton, back-to-back after famous Amos. You guys don't know Amos Coburn. I can't even talk to you guys about certain players. You guys aren't there yet. You aren't there knowledge-wise, but I'm with you. But nonetheless, Ken Kendricks is the reason Neil Brown has a job. He picked him to be the coach. So once the billionaire talks and says, this is the guy, you don't get to fire him. Nobody likes him. You want to fire him. You don't get to fire him. Ken Kendricks is paying that salary. He'll pay the buyout. He will dictate who the coach is at West Virginia. He's the owner of the Diamondbacks. If you guys don't know who the main boosters are at certain schools, the boosters determine everything. They pay for the salaries. It's not paid by the people. It's not paid by the fans. It's not paid by the school. It's paid by a private donation from Ken Kendricks. Neil Brown, as long as he has Ken Kendricks backing him, his new AD can't do shit. Everybody goes, oh, he got a new AD. He's going to fire him. Bro, that new AD has to call Ken Kendricks and say, hey, may I please fire this guy? Ken hangs up and says, I'm not taking your call this week, bro. Shut up. What day do you talk NFL? I talk about NFL every single day. Probably going to talk about NFL during the season. I don't really want to talk to NFL fans. I want to be very clear. I don't like NFL fans. I find a lot of NFL fans obtuse, uneducated, highly territorial. They just don't even understand football. They don't know what they're talking about. They just yell out, we're going to the Super Bowl. You ever talk to a Raiders fan? You ever talk to a 49ers fan or a Cowboys fan? They don't have a clue what they're talking about. At least when I'm talking to a college fan, I got a chance to be talking to an alumni. I got a chance to be talking to somebody college educated. I'm just saying. NFL fans, it could be any ignorant son of anybody could be wearing a jersey. Anybody could be wearing, no, that's my team, Holmes. We're going to do it. Just shut up. And the players don't have the same motivation to be great. Thoughts on KU Illinois? We're winding the show. Texas Tech and Oregon might be a good one. Yep, we got 8 minutes, y'all. Can KU use the transfer portal to be more successful in football, or is there simply not enough draw to the program like Coach Prime? Okay, so Wilds, nobody can use the portal like Coach Prime. You got to use the portal. There's ways to be charismatic about the portal. You got to have a innovative offensive scheme. Shout out to Kenny Dillingham. Shout out to Western Kentucky. Shout out to Louisville, right? Louisville dominated in the transfer portal because they had an innovative offensive scheme. So does Colorado. You got to have an innovative young coach, charismatic young coach. That's your second one to win in the transfer portal. Then you got to be in proximity to a talent bed because the players, vast majority of them, just want to go home to be closer to their home university. So when players hit the transfer portal, they want to go to schools that are creating pros, right? Pro pedigree, getting them drafted. Maybe play in one of the bigger conferences, so Power 5. Play for an innovative coach. Play closer to home. And then lastly, they're looking for playing time. That's the last one. All those other criteria are more valuable than the looking for playing time guys. There's very few people in the portal that couldn't start at their school. The vast majority of players in the portal are starters or players in the 2 deep who want a bigger stage to perform on, who want to look better. Like, you guys didn't study the transfer portal, but I can tell you in the winter, I had 300. Look, I could pull it up. Oh, my God. I think I might still have it. This will be crazy if I still have this. Let me show you guys something. I might still have this. Let's go to open. Let's go to transfer portal rankings. It's got to be under transfer portal rankings. It's got to be on this tab. Let's see. Transfer. There it is. Check it out. Check this out. Do you guys see this right here? This first column is Group of 5 to Power 5. The next column is Power 5 to Group of 5. Group of 5 to Group of 5. Power 5 to Power 5. FBS to FCS. This is what everybody assumes. Somebody who can't play at the FBS level is going down to the FCS. This is the by name list of people that were going FBS to FCS. Then this is the list of players going FCS straight to the Power 5. The list of players going FCS to FBS coming up in competition. So all these guys are coming up in competition. If you look, you'll see names you recognize. Those are Colorado guys, Colorado, all these Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Mario Anderson Jr. at South Carolina, Cameron Scadaboo at Arizona State, Joshua Cuevas at Washington, Jack Henderson at Minnesota, Zy Alexander at LSU, Purcell, I think he's at Boston College, DeAndre McCray, Texas Tech, Elijah Huzzy. I did a line by line of every single player coming up from either the FCS or lower to the Power 5, and then these guys are just coming FCS to the Group of 5. But here's my point. Line by line, name by name list, you see all the players. Check out this Power 5 to Power 5. Look at how long this list is. Look at that. The list of Power 5 to Power 5 transfers is longer than all the other lists combined. And my point is these players want to go to the same competition. They want to go to another school that's in the Power 5. They don't want to go down. They're not looking for an easier playing time. They're not looking for a school they can go play at that they couldn't play. No, they're saying, yo, I want to be in this conference. I want to represent in this level, but they just want to be closer to home. So I ask you, does Kansas have any of that criteria? Is Kansas near a talent bed? No. Do they have a young, charismatic coach? No. Do they have an innovative offensive scheme? No. Are they producing pro pedigree and great players? No. So the only option Kansas has in the transfer portal is getting players who couldn't start at their previous school. And then those players just have to be an upgrade to what they have on their roster. And they're doing that. They got players in the transfer portal that couldn't start at their previous school, but they're an upgrade to what they had on the roster, which I'm okay with. But understand, if you want to have that level of impact, you got to have all the other criteria first. That's the reality of the situation. What do I think about OU this year? Rewind the show. Did you cover the American Conference on Sundays? You think Quinn Ewers can be a Heisman candidate at some point? I think he is one right now. He's a quarterback for one of the top teams in America. That's how you get there. Were you impressed by Tyler Shuck and his performance against Wyoming? Not at all. No, Nick Green. I think highly of the young man, but he didn't look good. What do you think about OU this year? Rewind the show. 5-7 for TCU. I could see that. They have a hard schedule towards the end of the year. Yeah, I assessed it already. But, yep, shout out to you, Jordan. Is the transfer portal hurting high school recruits? No, wet, not at all. Every team is still signing 25 kids out of high school. Every team is still signing 25 entry-level scholarships out of high school. They are just not renewing the scholarships. They're kicking out anybody who sucks. So they're going to sign 25, and after 1 year, if you were a miss in recruiting, they're going to send you to the transfer portal. They're going to still sign 25 out of high school, and they're going to get rid of all the fat and anybody who sucks, and that'll enable them to sign another 25 and another 25, and they can still get guys from the transfer portal because it's a one-for-one swap. When you sign a guy from the transfer portal, you have to lose someone to gain him, but they're still signing full recruiting classes. The only reason you might see a team not sign a new recruiting class right now is because of COVID, because they got to fit 85 scholarships in 5 to 6 years of recruiting, because they allowed the COVID players not to lose a year of eligibility. So class of 2020, 21, 22, 23, and now you got to fit 24 in there. 5 classes of recruits. If you do 25 every year and you redshirt, you still got 150 guys you got to fit in 85 scholarships. Impossible. You got to hope for academic attrition, injuries, early declares to the NFL draft. You got to hope for all the best. And it doesn't always happen. Is Johnny Hodges the best linebacker in the Big 12? He dominated versus Colorado. No, Johnny Hodges is not the best linebacker in the Big 12. No. McCullough's the best, bro. McCullough's amazing. Oklahoma. What do you think about OU this year? I don't know. I'm reading this. Much love, Rico. Appreciate the time, and the Big 12 talks to you tomorrow. Thank you, Corey Free. I appreciate you guys. Hey, just a reminder, we just hit the timer. Sorry if I didn't get to your question. I want to tell you guys, get here early. Ask your questions early. That's all there is to it. Get here early, ask your questions early, and I'll always read your questions. Don't come in here and troll. Don't waste our time. Remember, I'm going to be on the Bud Show tonight, so I'll probably return on my show here in a few. I want to say I'm on at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So hope you guys join us and watch the show. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I usually play my outro, but I'm doing it. I don't care what y'all do. Let's go. Sorry, guys. Y'all know the deal. I appreciate everybody for what they do. Thank you for being here every night. Remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace.
Time in my dreams, I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired